Now we're going to do a quick exercise to help us appreciate exactly what a typical lithium-ion residential battery will do. So let's think through a typical 10 kilowatt hour residential battery and what services it can actually provide in the home. To do this, we're going to need to take a look at all of the electrical appliances in a home. This is going to be a pretty simplified example.
Okay.
So first, we've got a 1200 watt microwave. That's a big power draw, but we also don't use it too many hours of the day. CPAP is pretty important, but it's got very modest energy usage. The fridge uses 700 watts when it's running. That certainly adds up. It's good to know that you can get much better refrigerators that use a lot less energy, because that 700 watt one uses about 84% of the battery's capacity, so it's very substantial.
All right, and so as I follow along in this table, what I'm seeing is those devices are coming up. I'm seeing how much wattage they draw instantaneously and then how many hours they run per day. So it shows up in kilowatt hours per day. And then given that, how many run days on a 10 kilowatt battery.
Exactly.
So like that refrigerator, it's showing it'll only run for a little over 1 day on that whole battery?
Yep, and that's if you're only running that refrigerator.
Okay, this is getting interesting.
So then we've got the big screen television. That's also got a pretty noticeable draw when it's on, so you definitely want to either turn it off during the power outage when you're relying on your battery, or make sure it's off when it's not being watched. And older models do have a pretty high draw when they're off, when they're in standby mode, so it's a good excuse to replace to a newer model. The router uses very little energy. A few LEDs are also a pretty modest energy draw, but make sure those lights are LEDs.
Okay.
If they're incandescent, they use almost 10 times that much energy.
10 times?
Yep. And they also put off a lot of heat in the summertime, which is going to increase your cooling needs. Lastly, we've got the big one. This is an older air conditioner, and it will, by itself, use essentially the whole battery in about 4 hours. So that's a big challenge to overcome.
Okay, so looking at this table, you've got all those devices, again, a simplified home because there might be other things running in the home. And it sounds like this, we're talking about summertime, so maybe some summertime storm and the power goes out, or the tree came down my backyard and took out power to my house. So I might be out of power for a while. But what I'm seeing on the bottom row is that battery, when this is a standard, like when I say I'm going to go buy a residential battery, this is one of them. One of those, it's pretty big, but it's one of them. It's only going to run all that stuff under normal use for about a third of a day.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's not quite what I expected from all this.
Right. And so that's when you want to start to evaluate, do I want to modify my energy usage to help the battery last longer, or do I want to spend money on additional battery capacity?
Okay.
So one of the things that you could look at, we've already talked about the refrigerator, so that's a potential area where you could pretty significantly reduce your energy usage. You'll see that we've added a ceiling fan.
Okay.
And we've also changed the air conditioner.
Right, it was a 3-ton that used over 2,000 watts.
Yep. So if we were able to, let's say, reduce the drafts in the home, increase insulation, seal ductwork, those sorts of measures, you may get the house down to only needing a 2-ton heat pump, which would give you the opportunity to get a high efficiency one, which will overall reduce your energy usage. Adding a ceiling fan, when ceiling fans run, people are more comfortable, so you could potentially increase the temperature that you have your house set to and run the ceiling fans, which, as you can see, use a lot less energy.
So more efficient AC because I made the home better, and I'm even changing the thermostat because I'm running a ceiling fan.
Exactly.
But I also made an investment in improving the home and buying a new AC and bought the battery. So we've spent some money so far.
We have, and there is that 30% tax credit for residential battery installations. There's also tax credits of up to $2,000 for installing those high efficiency heat pumps, and up to $1,200 for installation improvements. So there are tax credits available to help offset those. Additionally, the Homes and Hero programs of the IRA are going to offer extensive rebates on HVAC equipment, water heaters, insulation, doors, windows, even electric panel work, and some wiring upgrades. And those are getting rolled out state by state. So those are pretty generous.
Okay. Well, but we did all this, and I'm still only at 0.37 days. I was at 0.3.
Yep.
So made a big change, but I'm having a hard time running all of this, and it may take a while before they get that tree off my power line.
Yes. So it may be that you have to make the choice to not run the central AC. That was a very significant user of energy, and you are a little bit uncomfortable for a bit and rely on the ceiling fan. That uses a lot less energy, and now we're up to about 0.8 of the day.
Okay, but my refrigerator's still running.
Yep.
And the CPAP and the microwave and the TV. So we're still running a lot of stuff, just not the air conditioner.
Exactly.
What I'm hearing here is that if I'm a contractor selling this equipment, or if I'm a consumer looking at buying one of these, I really need to be conscious of exactly what it'll do in the home, and not get my hopes up that these one single battery is going to run everything in my home for several days.
Exactly. You can start off with that wish list, find out pricing to have enough battery capacity to cover that, and then sort of balance that out to a good price point on battery capacity versus what you're willing to sacrifice during those times of power outages.
Okay, that's helpful. And it'll depend if it's wintertime and the grid's out.
Exactly.
Depend on, are you heating with a fossil fuel versus heating with electric?
Exactly.
But you did say I can buy a new TV.
I did.
Okay. So ultimately, discussions about residential batteries become great opportunities to talk about energy use more broadly, and to strategize about the smartest way to meet residents' goals for continuous power, for comfort, for energy savings, and more. A home really is a system of equipment, people, and even the weather and other things that affect the building. A residential battery is a tool that can do certain things, and it's a great tool for certain jobs. And a great contractor will help their client focus on exactly what jobs must, should, or can be accomplished, to take into account the whole system's strengths and weaknesses, and offer comprehensive solutions to meet their client's goals. As we noted when we started this slideshow, we'd love your feedback on the information in the presentation. This QR code will take you to an anonymous survey where you can provide that valuable feedback. That's our slideshow on residential batteries. We hope you found it informative. I'm Andrew Grigsby with Viridient.
And I'm Sean Shanley.
And thanks very much for your attention today.